We are the Jag Bros. And if you were hoping for rants and raves and crazy talk, well, then you came to the right place. Because what the heck was that? Are you kidding me? How did you do that? How did you blow a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter? How do you give up 26 points to Davis Mills? How do you let him play in a nightgown the entire time when their offensive line is a sieve? We had 4% pass rush against him the entire time. We knew he was passing. You supposedly have some of the better defensive ends in the league, and they did nothing. That was awful.
It was so atrocious. I mean, we got them all the way down to the 6-yard line, and Davis Mills marches the ball all the way down. I mean,
94 yards.
And then on the touchdown pass, he had all day. I mean, he could have sat down and thrown the ball to Dalton Schultz and then just push him out of bounds. You have the out of bounds right there. Make it a small field. No, let's just let him catch it. The defense was just so atrocious. I mean, the offense was bad too. Don't get me wrong. A lot of issues with the offense. But to let this, one of the worst offensive teams in the NFL, march on you for 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter is atrocious. Not a sack, not anyone in sight. Everyone played bad except Jarian Jones for a little bit, but he didn't play that much better over his interception and knock away. But I mean, it was so bad. Fulton and Lucan looked like garbage. Lloyd, first day back, was okay. At least Trayvon Walker, I saw you in the backfield. I don't think that was a roughing the passer. That sucks. But hey, nice to see you. Josh Hines-Allen, are you kidding me? We're paying you all this money. This is for you to go get the sack leadership of this franchise, and you can't even whiff the quarterback. He didn't have any pressure. I never saw his name. 41 might as well have stayed home and been inactive because he wasn't out there on that field.
Joey, you forget. I saw him. I saw him and Allen break contain and allow Davis Mills to just walk into the end zone. Like, what was that on 3rd and 14? 3rd and goal for the 14. That is such a low percentage chance with a quarterback that's not been that accurate ever. He's got like 4 wins in his entire career. And what do? We go and let him go drive us. I saw the stat. I think I saw the tweet. And I mentioned this in our breakdown pregame. And they were laughing tongue in cheek. Hey, it's good the Texans are playing their backup quarterback because that's Jacksonville's kryptonite. How do we keep losing to backup quarterbacks?
Davis Mills is 6 for 19 as a starter. 3 of those wins are against the Jaguars. We're officially back. This is the old Jaguars. We had a nice period where we had all the hope in the world. This was a new coach, a new GM, a new day. Well, it's back. We are back to our defense getting shredded. If we don't get a turnover, we can't stop anyone. Our offense was atrocious. I'm going to talk later about, just stay with us, Trevor Lawrence, because I've had an epiphany of revelation on Trevor Lawrence and how I feel about him, because your offense, they had 3 drives in the fourth quarter, and you want to know their stats? 1 yard and -6 points. The offense was a joke. All you had to do is get 1 first down to close out the game. They couldn't. The defense was a joke. The whole team, other than special teams, played well. But this was the epitome of the Jaguars. They lose the fourth quarter 26-0. That's almost impossible to do. The fourth quarter, the most important quarter, to lose 26-0. If you just took that quarter and played the other 3 quarters that way, you're talking about the Texans beating the Jaguars by over 100 points. That's how bad of a collapse, of a choke job this was by the Jaguars in the fourth quarter. And yeah, I mean, we're back. This is a bad Jaguars team. I don't want to hear any more about the playoffs, because the reality is the last 4 games, we were 1 lucky bat away from of losing 4 games in a row, and 2 of them being to bad teams in the Raiders and in the Texans with their backup quarterback. No, I don't want to hear any more about the Jaguars in the playoffs.
Here's the worst part. It's worse than the years before because guess what? We don't even have our first round pick next year. So we can't even look forward to the draft getting another top 10 pick. And you know who's laughing? The Browns. You want to know why they're also laughing? Because Newsome sucks. He's somehow worse than Campbell. The only nice thing is we don't have to pay Campbell for the next 5 years. Newsome, you can at least get out of, but he's horrible. And we continue to let the best receiver on the other team shred us. Nico Collins, I said, just keep him under 120 yards. That seemed reasonable considering he was their only offensive weapon. You can't do it. The frustrating thing right now about Liam Cohen is this team does not get better as the game goes along. And, oh, by the way, it's not getting better as the season goes along. We're all sitting here laughing at Bears fans in September when they start out 0-2. And meanwhile, they're at 6-3 and tied for their division lead, where we're the laughingstock of the NFL yet again.
Well, it comes back to why are we always jagging it up? And it has to be the players that seem to always be on this team just aren't stars. Josh Hines-Allen isn't a star. Trevor Lawrence isn't a star. Khan isn't a star. Newsome was fine. The issue was Mason Smith sucks. Devon Hamilton, a ghost. Josh Hines-Allen isn't there. Foye Oluokun, don't know where he is. Antonio Johnson should never start. Dewey Wingard isn't a starter. Trevor Lawrence doesn't need to be starting.
Come on. Hey, I am telling you, I know I blew up y'all's phone yesterday, but look, all the Jaguars fans are mad at the defense, and rightfully so, because it was a train wreck. It was terrible. But at the end of the day, you look at how the Jaguars have built the team since they've drafted Trevor Lawrence. They've given him everything. Every move has been offensive minded. Hey, you want an offensive coach? We'll go get you Doug Peterson. He's won a Super Bowl. He's supposed to be quarterback friendly. He's got a lot of experience. Oh, it's not working out with Doug Peterson. He's not the right guy. Let's go get a new hot shot, a great offensive mind in Liam Cohen. And guess what Trevor Lawrence has done? Every year, he's gotten worse. His completion percentage gets worse every year since 2022. His quarterback rating has gotten worse every year since 2022. And so, yeah, we're mad at the defense, and rightfully so, but every move we make is towards the offense. Our last 2 first-round picks, we trade up for a predominantly wide receiver. It's last year, we go wide receiver in the first round. In Trevor Lawrence's draft, we go running back. Hey, we'll get your teammate in Etienne a first-round running back. And what move do we make at the trade deadline? A wide receiver. What position do we address the most in the free agency? Offensive line. Everything is geared towards the offense, and the offense chokes over and over and over again. It just goes dead. Trevor Lawrence just goes 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3, 4, 5 times in a row, almost every game, and he's not the guy. He doesn't fire up the troops. He doesn't have a spark. Anytime Trevor has had success, is only because the defense has had a ton of turnovers. Look at the first half. They go, oh, the Jaguars scored 29 points against the best defense. Well, how'd they score the first field goal? Interception that got him on Texans side of the field. How they get the second one? A fumble. They start the ball inside the red zone. How they get the third touchdown? A punt return by Parker Washington. 17 of those points were pretty much gifted to the offense. And all they had to do was close out the game, and Trevor Lawrence can't do it. He's just not the guy. I've had the revelation. I've been defending Trevor for almost 5 years now, and it's just, he's not the guy. You're not going to win. The ceiling is 9-8. That's what it's been so far. Doesn't matter if you change the coach. Doesn't matter if you change the players. His ceiling is 9-8 and just not good enough.
I don't know. I hear you, Jack, and there's a lot of great points. I think your best point is that he doesn't have the it factor, which is crazy because you would have thought he would have, but he doesn't rally the troops. People don't look at him as the vocal leader like they do others. Here's the thing about the NFL. It's so strange to me the last 3 or 4 years. You have Geno Smith making the comeback of his career when he was left for dead. You had Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and Daniel Jones right now is 3 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. All 3 of those guys have like top 5 offenses right now, which you would have been shocked if I asked you that in 2018 or 2021 or 2023. And so like if you squint, you could see there's some improvement of Trevor. I mean, he ran for the first down on 2nd and 19, and then he hits Parker Washington on the sidelines to give us what would have been a 59-yard field goal, except for we got another hands to the face because Liam Cohen's teams have like the least amount of discipline of anybody I've ever seen. Oh, by the way, a lot of Jaguar fans are also Gator fans. Gator fans got rid of Billy Napier. Results didn't change, but you know what did change? All those stupid penalties. So I do think there's something to be said about coaching and the coaches that are tolerating this.
Oh, good.
Right
Let's
now,
let Trevor Lawrence run off a new head coach and get a new one.
No.
Well, I'm not saying go fire Liam Cohen. I'm
just
saying like if you're squint, you could see some little improvement on Trevor, particularly like being clutch. But look, he is what he is. He's at best Daniel Jones. He's at best you're a top.
He's at best Gardner Minshew. Mac Jones is playing significantly better and is significantly cheaper. I didn't even say we gave him one of the biggest contracts in the NFL. We've given him everything.
Yeah, that was stupid. I agree. I ranted on that.
What's crazy is he has had the spark for like a couple games, and those are his best games. The Chiefs game, never seen him have that type of spark. He is, and at times, a very good quarterback. It's dumb mistakes. He disappears, and the inconsistencies. Someone needs to get in his face and tell him he's not safe. Because I do think if he went somewhere else, he may have success because it would finally wake him up. Because you do see it, but he gets too comfortable. He does want to be surfer dude and like, oh, nothing's not going to get to me or whatever. No, let it get to you, Trevor. Get upset. Get emotional. Because that's when you play the best. Well, I think when you're emotional. Otherwise, you're going to get sacked and you're throwing a lollipop in the air and it should have been picked off. He should have had about 4 or 5 picks last game, but they just happened to drop. Remember throwing it into garbage, dumb ideas. And he's 6'6" and he's throwing it straight into the defensive line. I mean, it's just bad quarterback play when we've seen you play better. It's in there. Wake up.
Look, you're saying we surrounded him with talent and we've gone all out to support the offensive side of the ball. And I would say that's
offensive line is just absolutely atrocious.
Correct. The offensive line's bad. And then you look at the weapons he's throwing to, you could make an argument that that's the worst receiving corps in the NFL as it was structured today or on Sunday. I mean, Parker Washington's your best guy. He's fine. Like, I like him. He's good. He's a good Jag, but he's not like anything special. And then you have Johnny Munt and Tim Patrick and the ghost of De'Ami Brown. And like that's who he's throwing the ball to against the number one defense on the road. All of those things are things that Trevor's never done that great against. So like, I mean, the week before, Bo Nix looked horrible against them and they won the kind of a gross 15-18 type of game.
Like we all said it was going to be a low scoring game. Like, that's a very good defense, but I was not expecting the offensive line to be Swiss cheese. And in the fourth quarter, they had 100% pressure rate. Trevor was sacked 3 times. The running backs were going -5 yards on one play. And then they also went to the goal line and had a -6 yard play. I mean, they were in the backfield before the ball was even snapped. That's how bad they were. Chuma Edoga needs to be released today. He has more penalties and he's on the field the least. Cole Van Lannon isn't a guard. Hey, I don't know. Your 3rd round pick is finally healthy. Maybe put Wyatt Milam in there. Hey, I don't know. Play anyone else than the guy that you put in there and gets a false start on the 1 yard line 3 times this season. And then on the game where you finally get down and get in field goal range to somehow win this game, let's get a hands in the face from Chuma Edoga. No,
that was awful. That was so Jags. Like to get illegal hands to the face. That's just classic. So classic. And then for it to end on a strip fumble. That's
go back and watch it. It wasn't like, like his hand slipped and it was an accident or like a real quick. No,
it was a legitimate penalty.
Time.
Yes.
Just holding it up there. Like, hey, referee, look at this. I got my hand all the way up in his face mask.
The refs don't want to call that. They don't want to be part of the game. But that was so blatant.
Is so atrocious, these penalties. And the only way to do it, as you say, Jack, I think the playoffs are out of it. I understand we are still somewhat in it, but we're not going to win the games that we're going to need to win to get there. So the way to fix these penalties is if you commit a penalty, you sit your butt on the bench and you don't come back in until you're ready to go. There needs to be consequences. And if you keep not giving people consequences, then they'll keep making the same mistakes. And what do we see out there? People committing the same mistakes over and over and over again.
I disagree on the playoffs being out of the question. I mean, you're 5-4.
You got to go beat the
have wins
Chargers,
against-
which you're not going to go to do. You got to go beat the Broncos, which you're not going to go do.
You could absolutely beat the Chargers. You could lose the Broncos because you still play the Jets, the Titans, the Colts twice, and you play the
JT
Cardinals.
just gave up 26 points in the fourth quarter to
I
Davis Mills.
understand. I
Yes.
understand that
And
you're talking about.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say this is the worst receiving group in the NFL.
Well, in
Trevor
theory,
is
you're
average.
In theory, well, I said on Sunday.
This team could wake up and change
Yes.
it all,
Yes.
but I just don't believe they're going to.
Correct. At some point, you're 10 weeks in, 9 games in. This is who we are. Like, seriously, think about what is the identity for the Jaguars? Because to me, it's 3 things. 1, it's penalties. They lead the league in penalties. 2, it's getting gashed through the air. The secondary is terrible if they can't get a turnover. And then 3 is just that they're not ready. This team is not ready to take the next jump. They don't have leadership still. This is the same thing we said a lot the last 2 seasons. Like the Jaguars, the only time we ever get a spark, even in that Raiders game, is because Cam Little's kicking a 68-yarder. The only spark at the beginning of this game is because Jarian Jones, our backup cornerback, is making huge plays. Like it's not coming from the star players. Hey, Walker Little, another guy that we re-signed, he gave up 8 pressures, more than double anyone else. He let Danielle Hunter have a field day. The announcers kept talking about how Danielle Hunter has been struggling all season. Well, come on, play the Jaguars and get right, because that's what it is for pretty much everyone. But think about, like, what is the Jaguars' identity beyond that? Beyond penalties, weak coverage, and not getting the job done.
Well, here, I can tell you one thing. The offensive line, every time, for some reason, Ezra Cleveland isn't playing, the offensive line goes from being kind of average to above average to the worst offensive line. I don't know how one left guard changes everything, but look at the games that Ezra Cleveland doesn't play last week against the Rams and against the Seahawks. All 3 offensive line were atrocious. Ezra Cleveland did not play.
But you're also
we also played great defensive lines.
You're also, I'm about to say, you're also talking about 3 of the top 4,
True.
3 of the top 5
True.
defensive lines in the NFL. So again, you guys are pressed. Like, yes, we should have gotten 1 first down. Yes, all those things offensively. But the reality is the defense continues to be horrible. And this coaching, I put that loss. Let me ask you this: percentage wise, put the percentage of blame. Trevor. Offense, defense, and coaching, where do you put the percentage blame on each one of those?
70% on defense, 15% on coaching, and the rest on Trevor. Coaching, it could have been better. I thought they did well for a while, but you're out Jalen Petrie. Stingley goes out, and you're not taking advantage of that. They're blitzing you a ton. There has to be quick passes, and we are having long passes where Trevor Lawrence is holding the ball too long. You need to have dink and dunk passes are Trevor Lawrence's best friend, and we're not running them.
And that's one thing, too, that gets annoying to me as well, is we always blame the sack number on the offense line. Now, were there some plays that were very clearly on the offense line? Obviously, there were plays where they just blew right through and hit Trevor, before he even had a second. But there's a lot of quote-unquote coverage sacks where Trevor's just holding the ball way too long. And this is not the first time. So, yes, is the majority of the blame on Trevor in this game? No, it's got to be on the defense. You can't choke that bad. You can't let them steamroll you. But you're on the field the entire game because every time the offense needed a play, needed a single first down, heck, needed a yard, they didn't get the job done. And you look at, which we've talked about a lot, the Jags have gotten lucky in some of these games. They played some beat-up teams. This was supposed to be an offensive, explosive year. We finally get Trevor the right coach. We get Trevor another playmaker in Travis Hunter. Well, he's not had a great year. BTJ all of a sudden doesn't look very good. Now he's got to play with Trevor Lawrence. BTJ has success with everyone else. He has success with Mac Jones. He has success with Jane Daniels. He has success with the LSU backup quarterback. And he can't have success with Trevor Lawrence. I'm just telling you, I know, I get it. Y'all are still on the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon. That's
I'm not on
fine.
the Trevor's bandwagon.
But I'm just telling
yeah.
you, I've been set free. He's not the guy. And you can call him Daniel Jones. You can call him, he's just not the guy. He doesn't have that drive. He's so nonchalant. He doesn't even look phased on the sideline when you're about to have the biggest choke in NFL history. And that's just Trevor. After the game, in the post, he's like, oh, we just got to do better. Oh, we just got to fix some mistakes. It's like,
that.
bro, you just had one of the worst collapse in Jaguars history.
The worst collapse in Jags history.
The worst collapse.
The worst in Jags history.
I understand that, but you also can see everyone at the Jets is banging their head wishing they still had Sam Darnold. You have people in the Browns banging their head wishing they still had Baker Mayfield. You do not want to overreact and go throw him away. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
You can squint. You can see improvement. The fact that he does seem to get better on clutch plays and clutch, like even that throw.
It doesn't have to be all
that throw
in
to
one.
Parker Washington. Was
not.
Super clutch.
You need to get rid of him. It's hey, wake up. If I need to bench you like you bench Bryce Young for a couple games to wake him up, then do it. You don't have to throw him out with the baby in the bathwater, but something has to wake him up. Get out of the surfer dude, nothing matters, blah, blah, blah.
Cohen tried it. Remember, game 2, he's yelling at him from the sideline. Hey, hit the guy in the chest. What does Trevor do? Waves off his head coach, which we were fine with.
That was a media stunt thing. That was not what it looked like. He just said, put it on him. Like, it was not
He was yelling at him. I guarantee you Cohen has gotten in his face.
You're on the sideline and he's on the field. It wasn't yelling at him like you're playing awful. It was, hey, get it on his numbers instead of leading him. But that's not the issue. The issue
I'm just telling you, he's not the guy. I've been set free.
At the beginning of the season who had to fight for their position, ETN, Lloyd, other players that had to fight for their position are having their best season. You're guaranteed a starter. Josh Hines-Allen, BTJ, Trevor Lawrence. Your 3 guys are playing the worst. You bring someone in. Hey, Jacoby Myers, you may go and take BTJ's job. You know why? Because he drops the ball. You don't. Jacoby Myers closes his eyes, can't even see, and still catches the ball. That is some competition there.
You're not going to have competition.
Trevor Lawrence some competition. I don't care if it's Jameis Winston or someone else, or you go draft somebody, but you have to bring in someone that says, hey, Trevor Lawrence, if you aren't good enough, then you will sit your butt on the bench and you will watch someone else take over the franchise that is supposed to be for you.
I disagree with that too, Joey. I'm more inclined to agree with Jack.
It's gotten so soft. Oh,
you're
a franchise quarterback. We don't need a backup quarterback because I don't want to hurt your feelings and think that you may lose your job. Guess what makes you better? Competition. If you don't have competition, you get soft, you play worse, and it's awful.
All right, so Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne, yes, are having great years. Part of that's competition. A big part of that, too, is they're playing for a contract, which, hey, Josh Hines-Allen, who we talked about a lot, when did he have his best year? When he was playing for that massive contract. Well, Trevor's already gotten the massive contract, and he hasn't performed before or during or after. So maybe competition sparks it, but let's be real. We've tried multiple head coaches. We've tried a ton of different offensive play callers, and none of it has worked to this point. So, okay, maybe bring in competition that works, but the reality is he just hasn't gotten it done in 5 years.
You're not going to actually bring in competition for a guy you're paying $200 million a year. That's just You're just not going to do it. That's it's disingenuous to say, hey, you know what?
So the 49ers should have never given Brock Purdy a chance because he was the last pick and Trey Lance was like a 3 first-round pick guy.
Very different. Nick Mullins was like, oh, hey, you know, Trevor, we're paying you $200 million.
Nick Mullins is not competition. I'm talking about serious competition.
Okay, which serious competition are you going to pay for when you're already allocating $200 million?
I just told you, Jameis Winston could be serious competition. Kirk Cousins could be serious competition.
Kirk Cousins looked like trash 2 games ago. Oh, both those guys are on active rosters.
He at least
has with quarterbacks, or at least the Atlanta, that haven't even looked that good.
Yeah, well, they're also playing at Atlanta, so it's a little different. But what I'm saying is you go get someone who has been proven to be a starter and who can maybe give Trevor Lawrence some guidance, but also can bring in competition.
You mean Mac Jones?
No, Mac Jones is younger than he is.
But I mean, that's a guy who is a starter who you brought in for quote unquote
I'm
competition.
talking about someone who's been in the league for a long time, like a
Carson Wentz,
no Carson Wentz,
Russell Wilson. Like
no,
well, I don't know. I
like a
disagree with
Joe
you.
Flacco, Cousins, like a Jameis Winston, someone who's been doing it and they've been around and they say, hey, these are the mistakes I've made. And if you don't wake up, you're about to be what I am.
You could make the argument that Trevor's just David Carr. For those that remember him long time ago for the Houston Texans, like he could have been great, but he just was sacked so much he started seeing ghosts and just never was the same after that. I do wonder how much of this is Trevor just having to basically rebuild his confidence and rebuild everything. And look, I think part of the reason why it's hard for him to care is because he's just absorbed so many horrible losses over the last 4 or 5 years and so many horrible outputs. Like you do have to become numb to it if you want to keep showing up. So I don't know what to do. And Joey, I think you're spot on. If we ever traded him, he would actually somehow light up somebody else's scoreboard, especially with these things. And who knows, maybe that's the strategy they're going to go. Because Liam Cohen could do that, and you could point to Sam Darnold and these other guys having this renaissance. You could sell that dream to somebody.
And look, again, I've been a big Trevor Lawrence supporter. I've had his back, and I hope I'm wrong. Look, I'll be real. There's been times I've been very wrong on here on the pod before. I thought Tyson Campbell a couple of years ago was going to have a breakout season. I thought Chason going into one season was going to have a breakout year, although I will say Chason right now is sitting at 6.5 sacks, and your number one overall pick, Trayvon Walker, and your big-time paid edge rusher, Josh Hines-Allen, combined for only 4 sacks. So I don't know. I think, and I totally get it. It feels like an impossible situation because he's got a massive contract through 2030. It feels like no one's going to necessarily trade for him. You don't have a first round pick to go get a rookie, and typically quarterbacks go really, really high. So it's hard to even think or find a solution this offseason. I'm just telling you, the revelation to me is that Trevor Lawrence is not the guy. Maybe it's just not the guy in Jacksonville, but I just, the ceiling is 9-8. That's the best he's going to do. Again, even in the best moments, you still look at like he just doesn't get the job done.
I mean, if we beat the Titans twice, the Jets and the Cardinals, that's your 9 wins right there. You assume we'll probably get one of those other 4.
Man, but none of those are guaranteed. I mean, like you should have lost to the Raiders, who are a 2-win team. You should have lost to the 3-win Texans.
Well, Broncos almost lost to the Raiders as well. I mean, this is the NFL where the Dolphins just beat the Bills, and there's like crazy things that happen all the time. It's just a matter of fact that there's just no consistency with the Jaguars. That's so upsetting that you can go from being a pretty good defensive line at the first few games. I understand they weren't getting the sacks, but I saw them in the backfield. I saw them getting pressure, getting to CJ Stroud, knocking his hand, getting the last interception. Like, I saw that. I didn't see any of that for the last 4.5 games. They're gone. They're out of here. I don't know where this defensive line is. I'm not seeing any blitzes anymore. I swear we blitzed in the beginning of the season. Your best bet to fix the quarterback position, I don't know if it's just because I'm a Baylor fan, but you really seriously need to look at drafting the Baylor quarterback, Sawyer Robinson, in the 2nd or 3rd round. He is the best quarterback in college football, yet doesn't get all the praise because he's at Baylor and he has a bad offensive line, but he has the most yards, the most touchdowns, is an electric quarterback, and can run the ball a little bit, is a just better Trevor Lawrence. I think you got to go get him.
I like Sawyer. And hey, if Baylor truly has a bad offensive line, then it'll fit right in with Jacksonville. That does feel like the move. Like if I'm calming down, if I'm being realistic, you do need to draft a quarterback at some point in the 2026 draft, preferably day 2, and just see what happens. Just to see Again, the hardest thing with Trevor, though, is he doesn't have these just putrid games, typically, where he throws 4 or 5 interceptions where you're like, okay, you got to bench him. He just plays a lot of games like this. He doesn't move the ball. He'll have 3 and outs. He'll have dropped interceptions. He'll have 150 or 160 yards, a touchdown. He'll have a couple nice plays. And that's hard to bench someone on that you're paying so much money. But I do think you've got to try something at this point because, again, I just come back to we've tried everything. We've tried multiple different coaches. It's always an offensive-minded coach, not a defensive-minded coach, which is typically why our defense has struggled. We typically go early in the draft on offense. We typically spend more money on the offensive side of the ball, and it just hasn't worked. What is the common factor through all of that? Not coaches, not players. It's Trevor Lawrence. And so you've got to try something new. What's insanity? It's trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, 5 years in, there's been no different results. There's been a few nice sparks, but no lasting consistency or legit play from Trevor Lawrence and honestly from the whole Jags offense.
All righty. Well, I mean, as JT has pointed out, and the season is still winnable. If you go and beat the Chargers, wow, things look up. It's really sad what you did. You let one go, just like you did with the Bengals. It hurts. It probably will come back and bite us, but it is in front of us. How do we go fix it? We'll talk about a lot of how to fix it in our next episode when we talk about how we face against the Chargers. Maybe bringing Wyatt Milam in to help this offensive line will bring a spark. Hopefully Ezra Cleveland can come back. That will help a little. Brenton Strange is supposed to be back. That could be a huge spark for the offense. There is a minuscule amount of hope, but it is sad and it's dark right now, and it's all because of their fault. It was nothing that the Houston Texans really did. It's more of how poor you played. And that's what just sucks so much about it. But we'll cover more on it in our next episode. It's not over. 5-4. If the playoffs were today, we're still in the playoffs somehow. Now, how bad are we going to play in the playoffs? I don't know. But hey, let's still get there and make it happen. Let's close it out as we always do.
Duuuval.